Hello everyone, it's Seiji and today I will be doing a reading challenge update for May and June. I know we are already in August, but it's okay, it's alright. I took some time off in July, so I'm having to catch up with a lot of wrap-ups and stuff like that. So yeah, before we start, I will show you what I'm wearing today, and this is a new dress that I got from Grassfields, which is a lovely brand that focuses on creating dresses, shirts and all different types of clothing with African prints. So I got this dress because I absolutely loved this print. Anyway, let's get to the reading challenges. I have decided to take part in 4 this year, so they're all kind of year-long reading challenges. The first one is the Year of the Asian Reading Challenge, the second is the Sabor Challenge, the third is the Reading Women Challenge, and the fourth is the Classics Community 2020 Reading Challenge. Okay, so let's start with the Year of the Asian Reading Challenge 2020. So I had set my goal at 50 just because I knew I would be reading a lot of manga, and this year I had already set out to read lots and lots of Japanese literature. So yeah, I thought that was a good goal. So in May and June, I read 7 pieces of Asian literature. I read Malice, or at least I listened to Malice by Keigo Higashino when I was knitting, and it was a great mystery story. Would definitely recommend. I also listened to Revenge by Yoko Ogawa, which is definitely one of my favorites of the year. It was so dark. It's like this short story collection that is kind of like fantasy, dark stuff and death, and it's just really cool. A lot of the stories are just, I think basically all of them are interconnected as well, and it's a book that I am actually looking forward to reading again in a couple of weeks, just because I enjoyed listening to it. And I would also love to discuss it during Fortnight Frights. Moving on, I also read a couple of essays by Natsume Soseki. So I don't know if I could really count this as a piece of, well, it is a piece of literature. I read 2 essays, but they were rather short. Yeah, I'm throwing them in there anyway. It was really interesting, and I talked about both of these in my KOKORO book review video, and also in one of the videos that I did on self-centeredness in literature written by people of color. I will leave the links to those videos in the description box below. Then, surprisingly, I only read 1 piece of manga, namely Fragments of Horror by Junji Ito. And yeah, what can I say? I love me some Ito horror. This was great, as always. I don't know, I just really like him because it's so gory, it's so weird, it's so unsettling. He has such a great skill of finding the horror in the mundane. So it's lovely. I will be talking more about him and more horror manga during Fortnight Frights as well, for those who are interested in that. Then, moving on, The Setting Sun by Osamu Dazai. So I don't know if the video is up already, but I actually did a full review for this book. It was really interesting. It's basically about the downfall of the aristocracy in Japan after the Second World War. Very insightful, very good. It's a good piece of literature. Would recommend. Then I also read, what did I read? Japanese Tales of Mystery and Imagination by Edogawa Rampo, and I feel like I've spoken about this book several times on this channel, and I will continue to do so during Fortnight Frights, just because this is like a great collection of short stories. So looking forward to that. The last piece of Asian literature is My Baby First Birthday by Jenny Zhang, and I actually did an interview with Jenny a couple of weeks, maybe, even months ago, but it is coming up on my channel. We discussed her latest poetry collection, which is this one, and I thought it was incredibly interesting. This book contains a lot of profanity, which I am not used to seeing in like my literature, but it definitely pushed me in that sense, if that makes any sense. And just having that conversation with Jenny was incredibly insightful, and it was just great talking to her, and this collection really challenged me. I thought it was incredibly thought-provoking, so I'm very happy that I did read it. So like I previously said, I read 7 pieces of Asian literature, which brings me on a total of 23 out of 50, and that means that I have completed 46% of the challenge, and seeing that that was everything I read up until June, I am quite like in the ballpark of being like on track, since I'm actually supposed to be at 50%. So I'm feeling very confident about this challenge. Okay. Moving on to the Reading Women Challenge 2020, and to be honest, I think I'm going to have to give up on this one, because like it's a great challenge, but it's incredibly specific. I'll just put like the challenges here, and if you're going to combine that with 3 other challenges, it gets kind of hard. So I haven't been able to like specifically think of this challenge in context of the other ones, and so I haven't been doing great. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. I managed to read 1 book during May and June that fulfilled this like one of the challenges, one of the prompts, and that was Childhood by Tove Ditlevsen, and it fulfilled number 15, which was Read a Biography. So there's that. In total, I have read 7 books that fulfilled various challenges. So I'm at 29%, which is 21% away from half. So I think I'm going to have to give up on this one. But who knows? Maybe towards the end of the year, I will have fulfilled the other challenges, which leaves me with time to finish this one. But you never know. In good news, though, I completed the Classics Community 2020 challenge, and that was to read 12 classics. So I read Who Among Us by Mario Benedetti. This one is from Uruguay, and it was great. I have a full review of that one. Then I read Childhood by Tove Ditlevsen, which was also great. Also full review on my channel. Then I read Lord of the Flies by William Golding, and this one was not great. So let's move on. Then I read this African American classic, actually with my book club, and it's Imperium in Imperio by Sutton E. Griggs, and I thought it was really interesting. It's kind of like this dystopian, like you have this underground shadow government filled with African Americans in Waco, Texas, and it's just really weird, very interesting, like I said, because at this time, because this was, I think, written in like 1903 or something, so science fiction novels weren't really a thing. So you have this book kind of like grasping towards that genre, but not quite getting there. So it's really interesting. Also, this wasn't written all that well, like the plot and the pace was all over the place, but it was still very entertaining, so I would definitely recommend this one. And then I read a Brazilian classic, The Double Death of Quincas, Water-Bray by Jorge Amado, and this one was great. This was a lovely novella. I think it has 78 pages, something like that. Oh no, 71 pages. And it's a quick read. It's very funny. It's about this guy who is like a really good guy, good husband, good father. And then one day he decides to just say, you know what? I'm done. I'm Gucci with this. And so he calls his daughter and wife vipers, and he decides to live on the street, basically drinking all day long and having fun. So that's what this novella is about. And so he basically dies, and his family is actually quite relieved because he won't cause them any more shame. But then his friends from the street would still like to say their last goodbyes. And then all of a sudden, he's alive. What? Okay, yeah, so he's alive, but there's like this very interesting twist, and I thought it was done like in such a superb way. Would definitely recommend you pick this one up. And yes, to everyone who has been recommending Captains of the Sands, Near to the Wild Heart, and Bras Cubas, I have those titles at home. I am planning to read them. So if you would like to recommend me more Brazilian literature, feel free to do so in the comments. Yes, it is very much appreciated. Now, moving on, what else did I read? Yes, again, Japanese tales of mystery and imagination. These stories were written in the 1920s to 1930s. So that's a Japanese classic. Yeah. Did I already say The Setting Sun as well? Maybe. I'm not too sure. But this one is also a classic. So altogether, I read 7. I read 7 classics in May and June. So that brings me on a total of 17 classics that I have read in the first half of 2020. So I have completed the challenge. I had to read 12 and I've read 17 already. So that's 142%. So I'm very happy with that. I am still going to continue reading these classics. So yeah, very much looking forward to reading more. And then finally I have the Con Sabor reading challenge, and I have been slacking a bit with this one. But I do have to say, I am slowly making up for it. I've been reading a lot of Brazilian literature. I have some Uruguayan literature as well that I've read. So in like July and this month. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to finish this one. So basically it's the same as the classics community. I have to read 12 books written by authors from Latin America. And so the ones that I did read in May and June were Who Among Us and The Double Death. So that brings me on a small 4 out of 12, which is 33%, which means that I should have read 2 more classics. But, you know, we'll be all right. I'll be able to finish that challenge before the end of the year. So yeah, that's kind of like where I am at the moment. Hopefully I will be able to do like an update for July and August in a more timely fashion. Either way, thank you so much for watching. If you like the content that I make on this channel, then perhaps consider joining my Patreon. I run a book club over there where we read diverse classics from all over the world. It's loads of fun, and if you're not into that, you can also support me by donating a coffee or just by liking, subscribing and commenting. Anyway, again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.